Achoo. Goopa loopa. Gunda. Yup, yup. Laratutu. Chiogoba fingowa. Goopa loopa. Koto ostoga.
What's up, everybody? It's Wes, Hank, and Andy. After a Canadian Thanksgiving long weekend, we are back. We took last weekend off to have some turkeys
and go into a turkey coma.
Well, I escaped the turkey coma because I had a chicken this year.
Ooh.
We didn't have enough people to justify a giant bird. So
that's funny that you say that, because we did a chicken too. In fact, we were so lazy we just got a pre-cooked chicken.
Listen,
that's
they're like $15, man.
We actually went through the grocery store, and I have to ask this: do you guys remember? I think Butterball did this. Do you remember the pre-stuffed turkey log?
Yeah, oh yeah,
vaguely, yeah.
Like, so I get a turkey log.
I googled that, and it said 4 hours to cook it, and we were like, okay, let's just go get a chicken that's already hot.
Let's go get one from the deli counter.
And Lauren roasted veggies. It was awesome. Like,
yeah,
what do you need except each other and a little bit of food?
It was good. I mean, I've never done a chicken for Thanksgiving before, but I thought it was cool because my wife ended up stuffing the chicken the same way that she would a turkey. So you still had like some stuffing, like we do stuffing inside the bird, and then we do another pot of just
stuffed
outside. So it's like, what do you want for stuffing? And it's either inside or outside. Right.
Nice.
And of course, I'm a big inside fan.
Half and half.
Yeah. The inside is more moist.
It's definitely more moist.
Is that a word? Can we say that on the internet?
Moist?
Sure. Some people, but
let's see. Moist. How many times can we break a world record saying it in 1 hour? Nisa just got moist when she fell into that puddle.
That's true.
Well, there's a line this episode that's pretty dirty in this day and age.
Wait, is there?
There is.
I admittedly, I did not rewatch the episode today before we went live, so
it's fairly close to the end.
You'll have to refresh my memory when we get there.
Okay.
We could keep riffing on this all night and make our own jokes, or we could have one of those
bad Star Wars jokes.
Nice.
Aren't they all bad at this point?
No, they're all treasures to be heard.
I audience tested this one with Kim today before.
How did it score?
She said to me, she's like, I don't know about that one. That's a little bit of and I'm like, at this point, they're all supposed to be
I think so.
All right.
What do you got?
We've been talking about this for a while now, and surprised to know, did you hear the news?
I did not.
Kathleen Kennedy says she is going to reboot Ewoks.
Oh, thank God.
She's going to call it Ewoks.
No.
Oh. I would also accept She-Walks.
Oh, dear.
There you go.
One person watching gets all that glory.
We actually hit 2 for a second. I'm like, did that a second person back out because of the joke?
Oh, maybe.
Was it that bad? Hazel's still here, right?
Oh, gosh. If you're catching this in the rewind, please don't leave. Please don't leave.
There's a like on that one. That's beauty.
Nice. Okay. I have to address this to the audience because for sure the audience, for those of you who have been following this series, and I know it's like 2 of you, if you've been watching the episodes weekly as we have, as we've been revisiting this, you may have come across a bit of a problem with this week's episode. This one, it's episode 11. It's called The 3 Lessons. And I watched it one night. And I do this quite often. Like I'll watch it a few days in advance, but like it's my wind down time at night watching TV. I'm like, you know what? I'm not tired yet, but I could lay down now. I'll watch it in bed on my phone.
Fair enough.
So I laid down I booted up the episode Disney Plus on my phone, and I watched it and I went to bed. my normal routine when I do that is, okay, when I get up in the morning, go fire up the computer, open up Disney Plus and start composing the episode.
Yep.
I go to do that and I open up Chrome as I normally do.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a little behind the scenes moment. When I'm composing the episodes each week, because we're so slide heavy, I'll watch the episode in one browser and I will compose the slides in a second browser. So, and I flip back and forth that way. I go to play the episode on my computer with a Mac, and I get an error code, like what is it, 83 or something. Like it's an incompatible device. And I'm like, I just watched this. So I start panicking. I'm like, how am I I can't screenshot off the TV. I mean, I could sit in front of the TV with my cell phone and take pictures, and that would be kind of funny, but frustrating at the same time. So then I go back. I'm like, I just watched it on my phone. I'll try it again on my phone. My phone, same. There it is. There's the error right there on my phone. So then I immediately text the two of you and I'm like, guys, there's a problem. Is it just me? Can you guys check your devices? It turns out it's not just me.
It's crazy.
It's the weirdest thing.
It is the weirdest thing because it is the only episode. Now, I did not go into season 2 and I did not check every episode, but it is the only episode of season 1 that is not working. And to this day,
Right.
it's still not playable on my computer or on my phone.
Maybe we were talking shit about Bob Corral too much.
I looked him up again the other day just to refresh on his writing credits. And the funny thing is, he's got a lot.
A lot.
And he's got a lot of animation. Granted, a lot of it is aimed at a younger audience. That being said, Hank, you did bail me out. You sent me a YouTube link. And oh my God. I don't know if this has had an impact on me, but I will say this. We are at a record low number of slides this week at just 15. Ooh.
Even pausing on a YouTube video is much more like finicky than, the apps say, like Disney Plus or Netflix.
Absolutely. Could you imagine if we were doing this by VHS? You know how it takes time for the heads to stop turning and then start turning again?
Pause.
Now, kids, a VCR is a thing we used to record TV shows on.
That's right. Watching Ewoks again, revisiting the show as we have been on Disney Plus, and it's like you turn the show on, and even though we all have giant gigamongous 4K televisions, we are watching it in whatever resolution that they are pumping out
fully.
And you get that impression that when you watch Ewoks, it's like, oh, it looks like old TV. Well, let me tell you, we don't know how good we have it until you have watched an episode from a VHS transfer.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, it was so bad. And it's like, not only were all of the what do you call it? It's not artifact. I guess it is. Would you call it noise?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All the noise on the screen, but also all of the warbling of the audio.
So I taped this scene many places.
Oh my God. It was
so precisely why it's allowed to exist on YouTube. Nobody's going to watch this.
And yet whoever, like, I feel like it's a copy of a copy of a copy.
Sure.
Because there's something in the bottom right corner that somebody has blurred out. Whether it's a network
logo, maybe.
Yeah, a station logo or a network logo or something like that.
Recorded off TV. Were there commercial breaks in it?
There were.
I didn't watch it. I watched the first 10 seconds and went, okay, good enough.
There definitely are breaks where they would be within the episode. And some of them are pretty jarring because the audio and the video change quality dramatically on some of those breaks.
So then it's a rip from TV and not a rip from like a VHS.
Like
a rip copy from TV to VHS.
That's what I mean. Like I'm not 100% sure where this one sits. I just know that after the nostalgia of, oh, Ewoks is on Disney Plus, and it's so cute. It looks like it's old TV.
Yeah.
It looks amazing compared to
Sure, they must have remastered it. I mean,
yeah, I would think so on some level anyway.
Upscaled it from 480 to at least 720.
maybe. But you can't change the resolution of the original animation. So That just is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, you'd have to have the actual cells to rephotograph it.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
And we know that that's not possible, as I think I screen capped a bunch of the actual cells
Yeah.
on episode 1. So how much of that was sold off,
Yeah, right.
whether they were copies or original cells, I don't know.
Yeah.
I was actually talking with Major, our friend Major Medina from Reflex Point. Major owns some Ewok cells.
No
Yeah,
way.
yeah. I was inclined to ask him, like, send me pictures, show me which ones
Oh,
they
that
are.
would be super cool to see.
Are these episodes
Are they
hit
season
so far?
2 with the
Yeah,
stupid
yeah, yeah.
green cloak?
With the weird, everybody gets a gentle, in some
Retooling?
cases, not so gentle
Yeah.
reworking.
Looking at you, Low Gray.
What happened? Who is that guy? Okay. Well, let's get into this one. Oh, you know what I should do? I should probably boot up this week's slides. I didn't do that yet.
Well, there's so few of them, you wouldn't even notice.
No, we got time. Talk amongst yourselves.
We could act it out. Certainly, you could tell that Kuro is back at the helm this week, right?
Oh my god.
He's got a penchant for
obvious.
crazy dancing, squishing, like flexing that old style. Like I don't even want to call it Warner Brothers style slapstick animation, but something in that vein. And then the 3 Captain Cavemen rip-offs.
There was a lot of physical comedy in the episode. Certainly when we get to the village, and things are sort of overgrown, especially that whole sequence with Willie.
Even
the bakery.
We'll get there, and the bird. The bird reminded me of like,
oh my god,
like a Hanna-Barbera Flintstones thing with its beak stuck in the log, and like
we had the colors of sort of we had a Roadrunner looking bird with Woody
that one
colors.
That one.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Right.
Strangely enough, this was another episode where, of all of that weird and funkiness with another alien species this week, nothing canonized this week.
No.
Are you sure? Because
Yeah.
there is something in the novelization of Attack of the Clones.
I've got that.
Oh,
So
boy.
I'm calling that
Partial?
canon adjacent.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is because the official stance from Lucasfilm is that only the Clone Wars, like the animation, is canon.
Okay.
I presume the same way that the novelizations of the films are not canon, but they're canon adjacent because they're like other script drafts. I feel
Fair
like the Clone Wars is that way as well. But we will get to that. That is the one and only interesting point this week.
There's a couple more interesting points.
I
Come
think
on.
I just said hail to fly. Excuse me
my.
for a second.
Pretty fly for a white guy.
Nice.
That's a fruit fly
Nice.
saying
You just
screw
did
you.
a Renee Belloc. You shouldn't have broke character, man.
Just keep going, man.
Excuse me.
Don't cut. Play the camera. Play the camera.
Excuse me. All right, here we go. Where am I? Oh, turn the thing on. That's what we should do. There it is. Let's switch over here. That looks better.
There you go.
Okay, so wow, this week it is season 1, episode 11. It is called The 3 Lessons. Indeed, written by Bob Carrao this week, directed as the entire season has been by Raymond Jathalis. Original air date is Saturday, November 16th, 1985. It has a runtime of 22 minutes. And our episode synopsis this week reads, a Chief Chirpa tries to instruct Princess Nisa in what it takes to be a true leader. The 3 lessons. I actually thought, talking about the difference in the writing styles, I actually thought that the 3 lessons themselves, like the little spiel that that Chirpa gives Nisa, I actually thought that was well written. I feel like that could be.
It's a very good leader quality type.
That's what I mean. Like it's this sort of it's cryptic, prophetic. Like because even Nisa's like, what does that mean? Which we'll find out later on that she does get the lesson, but God, there's some of that. By the way, this screen capture, I tried this just for fun to see what it would do. As for some of you that know or don't know, I use Canva to do all of our presentations, and Canva has an AI upscaling tool to try and upscale some of the imagery. This is a twice upscaled image from that transfer, and it just looks hideous. So I did not do it again for any of the other ones.
Cool.
Okay, where are we at here? Let's get on with it. Okay, our episode opens with basically the gang, which is everybody but Nisa, all frolicking and playing in the village, while Nisa sits with her father, Chief Chirpa, who is trying to instill in her what he calls the 3 lessons.
The opener like reminded me of a Peanuts episode opener. Like do 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 do, and they're
Just
all doing
recycling the theme song
weird
and
dances.
everybody dancing.
Yeah,
with
like
it.
where's the flute? Now it's being played on a trombone. There's no drums in the song at all, but you
Nope.
it's awesome.
And did you notice Paplu's fingering work on that trombone?
Well, that's his battle horn, and now he's playing it like it's
He's
an
playing it like
instrument.
it's got keys on it, man.
That's wicked.
Yeah, is it the closing credit song again?
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
I mean, that has to be one of the most recycled pieces of music that I've ever heard. I have the lesson here. Chirpa says, the lesson of the hand will teach both strength and speed. The lesson of the head is learned when hands do not succeed. But the lesson of the heart will make the leader strong. With head and heart together, the hand is never wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Very
It's
inspiring.
It is.
And
Disney
it's
would
also-
make a 3-hour movie out of that today.
Yeah. But it's also not threatening, right? Like the lesson of the hand is not to dominate or impose or strike.
So
It's, it'll give you strength and speed.
I was going to ask, did either of you have an interpretation of that before you watched the rest of the episode? Did you already sort of conjure your own ideas of what that meant?
Kind of, yeah. Like, try to do it if you can by yourself. If that doesn't work, use your head, stop and think. And then, if that still doesn't work, then ask your heart what to do.
I actually had a thought about sort of, and this sort of encompasses some of the overarching stuff that we've picked up over the entire season, that this was a entirely geared towards wartime. That the lesson of the hand was about when and how to strike at your enemies, and then tempering it with your head and heart. And I suppose on some level it could be applied that way, but that's immediately what I went to.
Yeah, I was thinking like a classic anime. Like if you can't punch it, then try to outthink it. If you can't outthink it, then try to make it your friend.
Oh yeah,
that's pretty much the plot of every One Piece episode.
Nice.
Yeah, because I don't look at them like a warlike race, right?
No,
So I would put, the lesson of the hand is to doing, the tasks that need done.
physical things.
Yeah.
He does say strength, and I, like that. It's sort of implied, but all the things that go with it too.
Yeah.
But absolutely, like if you can't overcome it with the physical, try the mind. If you can't overcome it with the mind, then try to, understand the problem with the heart. So, and it's her solution is nice and organic too, because it's not like, I'm going to do this with my hands. No, it failed. What do I do? It was organic. She didn't realize that.
Yeah.
There was no she wasn't even consciously trying to apply the lessons.
No, she thought she needed to study more.
Yeah,
to try to
absolutely.
understand the
Absolutely.
question. Yeah.
And they did really well not throwing it in your face.
That's absolutely true.
Is this the first time we've really addressed Nisa? Well, actually, I guess it's not. It'd be our second time. Our second time we've really sort of looked at Nisa as royalty.
They kind of hammered it down though, like that she's definitely in training to be the new leader of the Ewoks someday.
And yet, canonically speaking, the next chief we see is Wicket.
Yeah,
right.
But this is all pre-Battle of Endor, and Wicket certainly distinguished himself.
Well, even by the end of
during
this episode,
Endor, yeah.
At the end of this episode, they're all praising, oh, way to go, Wicket. I know.
He's the main character.
There's Nisa here too.
Right, because Chirpa's like, and with Nisa's help.
Yeah. Again, though, I really want to go back to the Rise of Skywalker, that final scene, and look and see if we see a pink hood next to him.
I feel like,
because if he married into royalty, then that's a shoe-in, right?
I often wondered that too. Well, so would they handle it that way? Would he automatically would he assume the throne, or would he be like how Game of Thrones kind of handles it? The queen consort.
Have we seen her mom yet?
No, so I don't
Nisa's
know
mom.
that there's a mom, or if it, like There's no
definitely
son, certainly, right?
there's definitely a mom. I don't want to spoil this, but our last
Oh,
episode
yes.
of the season revolves around a missing sibling.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That's
So I
right.
was gonna say, like, if he's like a single father raising her, and then we get to her grown up with Wicket, that's a whole new scenario, right?
Oh, for sure it is.
But if mom's still around, then
We get no. I mean, I don't. I haven't watched ahead enough to know if mom is addressed in that last episode, but certainly nothing that we've seen so far has hinted that there is a mom in the picture.
yeah,
No. And like, even though he says to her, you'll be chiefess someday,
Chiefess, yeah.
there are, like, we've already seen where girls are excluded from things, like females in
That's
the early
right.
episodes. So
Yeah, that's right.
maybe it's that, like, you'll be, if you choose the right mate, then you could still be chiefess. Like, don't go
I
marrying that
suppose so,
Tebow.
yeah. Oh, Tebow.
that's Latara. Come on now.
Yeah, and that's another interesting thought. I mean, if we do revisit, I guess when we get this new run from Marvel Comics and we do start revisiting this stuff, will Tebow take over as the new shaman?
Maybe.
Was he the shaman at the time of
Seems empirical.
Rise of Skywalker? Yeah,
I
would
did a
think
little reading ahead too, and I noticed that there's an episode in season 2 where Logray's dark apprentice
so.
appears.
That's
So
cool.
I just saw it in the byline. Haven't watched it yet, but so
That'll be an interesting thing to how does Tebow handle that?
Mm-hmm.
That'll be fun. So Nisa ends up asking her father, "What does it all mean?" And Chirpa passes the buck and says, "Well, maybe Logray can explain it better." Like, do you not know the thing you're teaching? You know, and I think all of us can appreciate having at one time or another in our lives been in an instructional situation where the person delivering the lesson had no idea what they were talking about. And this kind of like is he trying to trick her? What do you mean? Like, oh, Logray can explain it better, but you're the chief.
Yeah,
It's weird.
but it is a weird line that he delivers next from Logray. He's like, I gotta go show your dad something.
That's right. Yeah.
And he kind of smirks, like, oh, good, got out of that one. Just continue
I
your
almost
studies.
felt like this was a test.
Maybe.
Well, certainly in the next scene we find out, no, wasn't a test. He was legitimately going to show him
Yeah,
something.
there is something new to show.
Logray says, in time things will be clear, but right now I have to show your father something.
Yeah. That's essentially the answer, because you got to learn it for yourself,
Yeah.
which is,
That makes a good point.
it's laid out to her like it's a lesson you're going to learn before you take power, and she learns it that day.
Well, they end up leaving, they're in Logray's hut. Don't teach this stuff in your own hut. You got to go to
It
Logray's
should
hut.
be like in Moana, like a general hut where everybody goes to learn.
Yeah,
story
the
time
meeting
and-
hut.
Yeah, exactly. That's where you go learn.
Isn't it funny though, the number of episodes that we've had where like something has happened in, around, or at Logray's hut?
His
Right.
hut is full of dangerous things.
Yet again. So they leave Nisa alone to study, but she's immediately distracted by the sounds of everybody singing and dancing and frolicking outside. So she rushes to the window and kind of poor me. But then she has this idea, well, father won't mind if I take a short break. And she does. But as she jumps down from the window, she accidentally knocks over some pots and a large decanter, which she notices, sort of. And she uprights the pots before running off, but doesn't notice that the decanter, which is spilling its contents onto a nearby plant, which we will learn is called a stranglethorn plant, that's sitting underneath the window. And in a Jack and the Beanstalk kind of way, the plant begins to grow exponentially.
Yep. Audrey too with the Hydra.
Feed me,
It's
Seymour.
the lowest common denominator here is always Logray's potions, right? Like they seem to,
Yeah.
don't store the magic growth portion beside the like murder plant. What was it called?
Stranglethorn.
Stranglethorn plant. I'm just gonna put this bottle of plant growth enhancer beside this stranglethorn and hope that nothing happens. Bye, Nisa.
You know what's even funnier? Like, I had this what if moment, right? Because the main focus from the adults in this episode is don't let it touch the ground.
Right.
would happen if that thing rooted on the forest floor?
Cloverfield.
Like that's the second, maybe third time where we've had this like world-changing catastrophic event like nearly happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
And my question is, why did it take so long to even get close to the ground? Like at the rate it was growing,
Well, yeah,
should have
I
been
know.
on the ground.
Within seconds.
Yeah.
Plot armor. It's like, don't let it
Yeah.
touch the ground, but then nobody's actually fighting it.
Well, Chief Chirpa, at one point, we do see
Well,
him down on the ground batting it away.
Is he batting it or just swinging a staff kind of at it?
He's batting
His
it
aim's
in
not too.
ones.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
really. Yeah. If anything, I mean, I give it up for Paplu, who at least tries.
The mighty
Ouija.
Paplu.
Ouija's defending the hell out of
That's
them,
true.
right?
Yeah. I fill my stomach with all this stuff. Anyway, as the kids dance and play, Nisa accidentally she trips over backwards in her cheerleader kind of way that she does, and
After rubbing her little pom poms in Wicket's face.
yeah.
In her playful little act, and he's like, whatever.
Yeah. Funny though, because we've already established that there is a
connection,
a romantic thing there between them.
but not in front of the guys.
I guess not. She ends up falling into the Stranglethorn, which has now sort of like spawned off several Venus flytrap like heads.
Mm.
And the funny thing is that each one of these heads at one time or another acts like it's semi-intelligent, if
Well, it's
not
got
outright.
personality.
That's what I mean.
Like this first one, it stops her from falling over, and she's
Yeah.
like, "Oh,
Yeah.
thanks. Oh, wait a minute, you're that."
Yeah. Well, Paplu thinks, what does he say? He's like, he says, he can handle this overgrown vine, but is quickly, I made a spelling mistake.
Okay.
Humbled. I wrote jumbled. He's humbled.
Well, he's jumbled too.
Yeah, he's humbled and jumbled when the Stranglethorn tosses him like a rag doll across the courtyard. And of course, for comedy, he falls into a drum and promptly yells, "Get me out of here!" Wicket points out that there is more than just the one vine, and then all the kids end up fleeing. Meanwhile, Logray, who had to show your father something, is showing Chief Chirpa the new supply lift. He says that with this device, a single Ewok can lift an entire cartload.
And it adds an extra play feature to the play set.
Is this on the playset?
I think so.
Oh,
Like a little
dear.
elevator thing.
Might be.
I should have looked that up.
Hope
I'm
there's
going to
foot
have to.
pegs.
It's either that or, if you can't find it, just look for the Sherwood Forest playset. That doesn't get old. Yeah, to the new supply lift. He says that a single Ewok can lift an entire cartload. The demonstration is interrupted when Nisa comes running and shouting, "Help, help, help!" Logray, Nisa, did you touch the plant growth formula that I was working on?
Well, I was studying, and
She says she knocked over a few bottles. By this time now, the Stranglethorn, we're talking seconds, has now infested the entire village and has cut off all of the access ladders to the ground. So nobody's getting in or out.
so it doesn't have exactly a lift, but it does have a little elevator type lift.
Oh, with like a
With a
cart, like
cage type
like an actual elevator.
Car.
Yeah. That's cool.
Mm.
Chirpa asks Logray, "Is there an antidote?" And Logray says, "Yeah, in my hut." But it's like, no one's getting in there. He says that it will take a mixture of what he says, Keat nectar, Ganga root, and Trom sap, and that all of the ingredients are in his hut. Now, we have not heard of any of the, we've heard lots of like weird potion ingredients before. These are our new ones. We've not.
Oh, I know what the Ganga root is, baby.
It's spelt that way too. Double G's in that Ganga. Logray and Chirpa rush off to try and prevent the plant from reaching the ground, lest it take over the entire forest. Which leaves, and they leave Wicket and Nisa to guard the new lift. Stay here and guard the lift. What?
Don't let the plant
Okay.
eat it.
Once again, we can fly over a burning forest, but we can't help save the village.
That's right.
All right. Well, one of the vine heads actually tries to get past the two of them. And in doing so, it ends up cutting the rope that's holding the lift, which sends Nisa and Wicket crashing to the ground below. Fortunately for them, they happen to land in a cart full of straw and are miraculously unharmed, while the lift that they were on smashes to the ground right beside it.
Destroyed.
Amazing how they...
All the supplies are gone too.
I'm just amazed at how they didn't just fall down in a single heap, that they mid-air split into two falling groups.
Yeah. They leapt off.
What I love about
Ewoks
this
have
episode,
speed.
I had a real, I guess, Flintstone fans.
Yeah.
I had a real moment of like, oh, it's that episode of the Flintstones when Fred's reading his grandfather's war diary. By my calculations, there's a hay wagon over this next cliff. Now jump. And then they land in the hay wagon. You're a mean man with a map, Flintstone.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that episode.
Yeah, it's one of my all-time favorites. All right, well, Nisa, feeling the weight of her mistake, decides that she's going to go out into the forest and collect the ingredients that Logray needs to stop the Stranglethorn. Of course, Wicket, being the good friend that he is, will not let her go alone and says, I'm going with you.
It's dangerous.
I have a question now, because it's going to come back twice more in the episode. It is outrightly, it's not even intimated, it is outrightly assumed by some of the dialogue that the elders know that they're off hunting for the ingredients.
Yeah.
Who sees them go? Nobody. Nobody.
Maybe they walk past and see that the lift is now gone.
Tebow's hiding in a bush off
That's
camera.
right.
He
And
saw
just
it.
tells them.
That's right. Yeah. All right. So we end up going. This is an interesting breakdown on the thing too. We got three ingredients. So it's like, okay, 3 acts to our episode.
3 lessons.
The Keat nectar is the majority of the episode. It is the most amount of screen time. It's like the other 2 things. Yeah, it's a foregone conclusion. But this is the only one that has a real
Element of danger.
yeah, that's probably
Well.
the best word for it.
The next one has a small element of danger, but
Did you think the bird was really?
oh yeah, the bird was going to murder them.
It just wanted the root.
Sure, it did.
Mhm.
And it'll
I mean, if it could
anything
stick
it
its,
has to.
it could
to
stick
get
its beak clean through a tree trunk. It
I
could
guess so.
Really
Yeah.
easily
It
skewer
could.
an Ewok.
Furry
Ewok
little-
on a stick. All right, going after the Keat nectar first. Nisa and Wicket arrive at this Keat mound. It looks like a massive termite mound, and it's surrounded by a shallow moat of sticky goo, which is not expressly identified in any way, shape, or form. I don't know if this is Keat vomit, if this is a naturally occurring substance around the moat or around the mound, or what this is.
a mixture of excrement and extra.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, but sticky goo is what I've gone with.
Yep.
Well, the two, Wicket and Nisa, wonder how to get inside, and as they do, a lone Keat wanders up to the mound, walks past the two of them, trudges through the sticky goo, and then right up the side of the mound into the entrance at the top, which gives Nisa the idea to wrap their feet in broad leaves. And they end up using the sticky goo as an adhesive, and they literally walk up the side of the mound.
It's like Batman and Robin.
I was thinking the exact same thing. I'm like, where's the guy in the back holding the cape?
Right. One of the Keats should have popped out and had a conversation.
That's right. And it's Sammy Davis Jr. Well, the plan works. And once they get inside, for whatever reason, we should keep these because they'll come in handy later.
Yeah, you got sticky shoes now.
They do end up stowing the makeshift shoes in their satchels
Or they don't stick.
and set off. Yeah, that's right. And set off in search of some nectar. It's not too long, and we spot a column of Keats marching past. Now, each Keat is carrying a shimmering pearl of nectar on its back, but it's no use because Nisa and Wicket are both discovered by another group of Keats. Now, let's talk about Keats here for a second. Andy, you brought this up, and yes, indeed, Keats. The most interesting thing about this episode, I think, unless you count the Tromes,
A little bit.
but the Keats are mentioned in the novelization of not Attack of the Clones, the Clone Wars. That's the 2008 movie that spawned this the series. kind of making them canon adjacent.
Mhm.
They definitely have a cricket sort of vibe going to them. Although,
They look super familiar to something else.
you think?
Yeah, like I know there's elements in Pokemon
Oh, yeah.
Sectars.
that have
Look
been
like a
Oh,
sectar.
Sectar, the long
Maybe, yeah.
antenna. I was also going to say the heads are that's Black Manta's helmet right there. Just
Oh yeah, totally.
true.
yeah. For sure, with the overall thing for me, I got cricket out of it. Although I don't know, do crickets have queens?
I don't know for sure.
Do they have super crickets or something? Because like there's definitely one of them, whether it's king, queen, the big one that has the
Mhm.
multiple legs.
The
Right,
xenomorph.
right.
Yeah, that
the
one.
queen.
Well, they're a large insectoid species native to Endor, resembling a cricket. They appear here for the first time, and while not specifically canon, as I said, I am calling them canon adjacent, as they were mentioned in the novelization.
Cool.
I wasn't aware of this novelization. This is the novelization of that animated movie.
Of the 2008 animated film, yeah.
So was it written from the script, or was the
I would presume that it is written from a draft of the script.
Right.
You know,
I'm gonna check
again,
that out. I like a good Ahsoka Anakin introduction. Maybe it's played
maybe
slightly different.
Well,
or more
I mean,
more detail, you know.
I was reading. I read was it Marvel? Marvel did the Revenge of the Sith comic, and I read Revenge of the Sith, the comic book, weeks before the movie came out,
Right.
and I wished I hadn't. Damn. What? Oh my God!
Anakin's Darth Vader. What the hell are you talking
No, it was more about the big thing in that comic. Spoiler: if you haven't seen Revenge of the Sith,
Oh, geez.
at this point,
You got to catch up.
the beheading of Dooku was spoiled in the comic.
Mm,
They totally. I mean, it was a big moment. You can't not include that.
true.
No, it's true.
I'm trying to think though. The novelizations of the movies, they've for sure they've come out before the
Definitely.
films,
Definitely.
and they've all had
The
other
only
things in them.
and this is indicative of a lot of that sort of like Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. I read the novel before I saw the movie.
Yeah.
As a kid. So I don't know if it ruined it for me as a kid because I just wanted to see more of that stuff. But I think that the novels are similar enough. There's like key differences, but I was just interested. I didn't know this existed actually.
No, it's the first time I'm seeing it as well. And I'm always a big fan. When people ask me, you know, I'm looking for a Star Wars book to read and are looking for recommendations, you know, canon or legends, I always say read the novelizations of the films.
Yeah.
If you read nothing else, read those. Because of those other alternate script takes that have details in it that may have been cut.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the way A New Hope or whatever it was, Star Wars
Yeah.
is written.
Yeah. The prologue in Star Wars is all of the background that we chewed on for what? For 30 years.
It's how we knew what we knew. Like
It's exactly, yeah.
All right, so what happens next? It appears it's the Keet Queen / King, as this Keet has a much larger and longer segmented body with multiple pairs of legs and feet. The Ewoks try to rationalize with them and actually like talk their way out of it. Wicket's like, hey, Goopa, Keet. Tries to explain that we need some of the nectar to save the village. But the Keats don't really like they kind of chitter a little bit. It's not even clear if they even understand them. What is clear is that they just end up treating them as intruders.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take much for the two of them to figure out we better run. Well, they do, and they do. They run all through the mound, sort of, over here and over there until they dash. They think they've sort of left them behind, and they evade into inside a cavern. Well, the cavern just happens to be a storage area, and inside is a literal mountain of these Keet nectar pearls.
The interior spatial thing going on here is crazy.
This
thing is like a TARDIS.
Well, even from the outside, we'll get a better sense of. Let me back up here for a second, because I did notice that the camera pans up when Wicket and Nisa are sitting behind the bush, and they look up. The camera pans up, and my first thought was, "Oh, it's little, it's tiny."
Yeah, but no.
No, it's quite large. That hole that we see is actually much larger. We'll get a better appreciation for that.
It's like at least 6 Ewoks.
I mean,
high.
that's
Yeah.
It's twice they do that in this episode, and we'll get there in a bit. But the tree at the end seemed quite small when I first saw it.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
And then they can't reach the leaf, like it. So it's that effect. We've got to get it all on the screen. kinda
Agreed.
action.
Yeah. Totally agreed. All right. So, unbeknownst to Wicket and Nisa, one of the Keats actually saw them duck inside the room. Now, Wicket goes to pull a pearl, and Brainiac himself decides he's going to pull like the linchpin.
Not this one,
From
John.
the bottom. Yeah, exactly. And Nisa, not that one. But it's too late, and the entire mountain comes crashing down. And it is literally, talk about Indiana Jones, as we make a run from this mountain that's chasing them. They do make a run for the cavern entrance, but are sealed inside when the Keat who saw them rolls a giant boulder in front of the door, and the Ewoks are buried in a landslide of nectar pearls.
Just think of the strength of these little things.
Which,
The Keat.
well, they're insects, right? I mean,
Hmm.
what's the stats on an ant? 100 times their body weight, or something like that. So it only makes sense to me that it would be
Yes.
scalable. Well, once the pearls settle, Wicket and Nisa come up for air, and it's almost like they were in like the ball pit at like Chuck E. Cheese, because nobody's wounded or anything. We're all happy. Hey, we're here. It's all good.
Yeah. If the balls are deep enough, you can definitely swim.
Well, the Keat Queen and several others gather outside the Pearl Chamber, as I'm calling it. One of them unseals the opening, and as they do, an entire wave of nectar pearls swooshes out, with both Wicket and Nisa riding the wave. The Keats chase them, but the pearl wave moves much too fast for them, and conveniently enough, and again, I didn't really capture it when they were running from the Keats, but like in the episode, there's like they're running downhill, then they're running uphill, then they're running downhill again.
And like when the final thing, it all leaks out the original hole, which leads me to believe that chamber is at the very, very top.
It would have to be like
for that much gravity to take it
That's
down
what I
all
mean.
the way.
Did we have enough momentum that we were able to go uphill out the door?
I think so. A little bit.
Conveniently, the wave of pearls rolls to the exit, and the Ewoks blast out the opening in a hail of falling pearls. But the moat of sticky goo cushions their fall, and the two of them collect one of the pearls, and they head off to collect the next ingredient, while the Keats seemingly laugh at them as they watch them go.
That can't be easy to get out of the fur.
You would think. They're for sure they're intelligent, though. Even the queen, queen, does the old like back slap on one of them,
Right.
knocks the guy out of the door, and he just catches himself on the way down.
You could see the other thing, or the other way you could look at it is that their laughter is actually anger, because now they got to
that's
collect
true.
all these damn pearls again and get back in that
no.
cavern.
Yeah, is this winter stores? Is that what this is?
Maybe
I presume that it's
it's a lot of work.
food for them.
Right.
But then
Right.
again,
As long as it's not children, right? Like,
is
the
this
Keat
like,
eggs.
is this like, you know, like the joke about honey? Here's your bee vomit.
right.
Is that what we're looking at here? Is this Keat vomit, and we
No,
just
no, 'cause they-
eat it?
They don't show us where it comes from, right?
No.
Like all we
So,
see is
yeah.
them kind of moving the pearls throughout the hive itself.
So which end does it come from?
The queens.
Mm.
Oh, do you think
It's
they're eggs?
slurm.
Oh.
You think they're eggs?
It could be slurm.
Slurm. Soylent Green is keep.
Mm. All right. So, back at the village, the Stranglethorn torments a pair of the Walklings, but Milani tries to rescue them by bashing at it with a broom, which proves to be of no use. Paplu, for the second time, or no, this is the first time. No, second time.
Second time. He tried to ride
Right.
the Stranglethorn.
That's right. And he
Yeah.
got tossed into the drum.
Into the drum.
Then it bit the drum off his ass.
Yeah, it steps up, and he says, basically says, put that Walkling back, and but it just toys with him. Ends up again, playing for comedy, flips Paplu upside down and begins to tickle his foot with a vine.
It's a good thing they're not named correctly because these things aren't strangling no one.
Well, they're strangling the village,
Tickle thorn.
Wow, that's true. That's true.
but they're sentient and having torture fun.
Right.
To the point where they've put like the spots on the heads like their eyes and a nose.
Yeah.
Huge feed me Seymour vibes.
Well, I think, where is it here? I almost wrote, oh, did I not call it one? I just about called one of them Feed Me Seymour.
Nice.
I just thought that would go over some people's heads.
No way. Referencing things is what we do.
True enough. Flips him upside down and begins to tickle his foot. Then the same plant ends up dropping Milani up on the same high platform where it deposited the walklings. And this is where one of the lines, Milani pleads out loud for Wicket and Nisa to hurry up. Okay.
Maybe she saw them.
Maybe.
She's always watching
Maybe.
Wicket.
Maybe
Or
she's
Randy.
She's hiding in the same bush with Tebow.
Maybe.
I mean, that he is her little sister, so maybe it
Exactly.
runs in the family.
That could be. Could be.
Out in the forest, Wicket and Nisa come across a field of ganga root. The ganga roots look like some kind of root vegetable with a long sprout of greenery that are coming out of the top of the buried root portion.
Kind of like the turnips you used to pull up in Mario 2.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Both Wicket and Nisa, though, are unable to pull one directly from the ground.
The lesson of the hand has failed.
It has. Now, we get this bird, and it's called a barber bird, like cut your hair barber. A barber bird arrives, and it begins poking at the roots with its long, sharp beak. And I call it shriveling, but it's a cartoon.
It's
It
deflating.
deflates, which
Yeah.
is weird. Can't be much nutritional value in something that's mostly air.
Balloon root.
Balloon root.
Mushrooms.
I guess so. So the ganga root shrivels up, allowing the bird to pull it from the ground and eat it. Now, with that in mind, the Ewoks end up grabbing a long stick and they mimic the bird and are able to free one. But it's the last ganga root, as the barber bird has quickly eaten all of the others and now has its eye on the one that they are holding.
Must have taken them a long time to find that stick, because you look at that first image there. How many of those things are there?
Well, there's what, 3, 6,
There's enough to
9,
feed an
12,
Ewok village there.
20 plus.
And this bird just packed it away.
Or yeah, I was going to say, it just ate it.
And all these
really,
weird,
really
rare
fast.
fruits are growing in like little patches all over the planet. Like
Seriously.
there's not like,
I mean, I would
perennial
think
fields.
at this point, I'd be like, can these things complement the sunberries? Because I mean, we should just keep a stock of all the weird shit that we need.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's all in low grace hut.
They're not farmers though, right? Like
No.
they're not moving this stuff and planting it near their homes.
Season 3, the Jindas move back to Bright Tree Village.
And take over farming
Start
duties.
the farming, yeah. All right. Well, this causes Wicket and Nisa to have to flee from the bird, who ends up chasing after them. Now, the two of them manage to jump over a log at the same moment that the barber bird tries to presumably spear the root, but instead jams its beak through an entire log. And
Right.
I don't have it here, but the bird stops and stands up.
He looks at the camera.
Yeah. With
And
the
I was
log.
expecting it's a living, like
Yeah. Another Flintstone moment.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And so again, like I said, the Keith thing, we spend the most screen time with the Keats, because like that was like one slide. Done. We got it. We're out.
Yep.
Cut to the next one, and we end up climbing a sheer cliff face, where Wicket and Nisa arrive at the Trome tree.
Trivia moment. This is also where they shot the Lion King.
Which in that first slide really makes it look like the Trome stump.
Right. Doesn't it like a tiny thing?
Yeah. Because what's left of the tree is just a barren trunk with a short branch that is bearing just a single leaf. Strangely enough, though, when they get there, there's a sign next to the tree that it both welcomes people to the tree and then tells them to go home, lest
It's the 9/11 memorial.
lest you get tromed.
Right. Tromed.
Tromed.
So I got a question about the what is that like in Ewok or is that in like Endorian Common? Is
I-
what it looks like some kind of hieroglyphic, right?
Definitely, we got pictograms like the no thing with like
Right, and then a person, like a
yeah.
washroom symbol beside it. Looks like a
Stop.
high heel shoe and a tent.
Stop. Use your eyes to look at the tree.
Right.
The famous Trome tree.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what it's trying to say.
It's pretty
No, go
cool
away.
though.
Definitely the people animating this stuff put some thought into how they were going to convey that. And without knowing what the message is, like you definitely know that it's communicating something.
Just be cool if that's our first sort of written Ewok.
Mm,
I wouldn't say that it's Ewok,
I
but
would say
again,
it's
they
Tromanese.
yeah, that makes more sense, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean,
Tromanese.
really,
Just
but
Troman.
Wicked
Troman.
reads it readily.
He does.
Yeah, he's familiar with it.
Is there a common language on Endor? I don't know. Maybe there is.
Could be.
Well, it is a strange message indeed, but the two of them are set to pluck the leaf from the tree when suddenly a multi-layered voice warns them, I wouldn't do that if I were you. That's the best I can do. It's
Yeah,
terrible.
Not bad.
It's horrible, but it's this
better than
like-
auto tune.
Well, that's kind of what it sounds like. I wouldn't do that if I were you. And a giant bearded fellow looms over the two of them, accusing them that they've come to cut down the Trome tree. Wicket says, well, no, we just need one little branch. But the giant looms over them, uttering a sinister, I knew it! Prepare to be troned.
And to draw more parallels, he does
Yeah.
look like a cross between Beastly and No Heart, with hints of that hermit from Yogi Bear.
He does.
I got
Oh, my God.
Captain Caveman. I got
Oh, wow.
heavy Captain Caveman.
The Yogi Bear thing, though, like
Yeah.
the Christmas, the
Yeah, Hermit the
Christmas
Hermit.
special. Yes,
Yep,
yes.
yep.
I totally get it. I do have a take on this. I'll talk about it here in a second when we get to the reveal.
3 Jawas in a trench coat.
Yeah. Wicked and Nisa back away from the giant, backing up towards the edge of the cliff. I don't know why they didn't just leave the other way, but let's back towards the cliff to our peril. They say they only need the sap to save their village, but the giant roars at them as it prepares to attack. Rah!
Then we go to commercial.
Yeah, exactly. Big cut. Digging in for a fight, though, Wicket, instead of cowering, goes on the offensive and he shoves the giant, calling him a big bully.
Dengar.
Surprisingly, the giant tumbles into a heap, and he's not a giant at all. Rather, he or they are a trio of little bearded gnomish creatures, and they say that the Trome tree is their home. So, Trome, tree gnome,
Trino.
I like it.
tree gnome.
Sure. Right out of Bob Carou's nightmares.
There's a quality to these guys that, like, are they the last of their kind?
Maybe.
Are they Endorian natives? Are they transplants like everything else we've talked about this season?
So Logray knows what the ingredients are for this potion. And
Yeah.
It comes from a Trome tree, but nobody seems to know what Tromes are. Like, so do they call themselves Tromes? Troming is also a noun. It's a thing. It's a person.
I'm gonna
It's also a
trome you,
verb.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can
You'll be
trome you.
tromed. Yeah.
So it's like,
It's like Smurf.
I mean, maybe they hid away on that ship with all the other people that crashed here.
If only
It's-
Morag was still
it's-
alive to tell
It's
us.
just a weird
Mm.
hole that they know what the tree is called and the species and the effect its plant has and why I need it for this potion. But they've never heard of these people that are named after the plant. And the guardians of the plant, plus put up a sign warning you that there are guardians of the plant.
Welcome to the Trome tree. Now go home.
That's
Yep.
like nowhere on
seen it, move
Logray's
along.
radar.
There's some interesting characteristics here. So the whole talking in unison thing continues now that they've split apart, leading me to believe that these are their siblings.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's that or the species shares some kind of psychic link, one or the other. But I think siblings is probably more apt. And then I wonder, because what we notice in this, and we'll see it again, it's part of Nisa's plan, is that they have this innate, like I hate to say it, they made me think of the Jindas again. I'm like, why aren't these guys
Yeah,
with
yeah.
the Jindas? Because they're amazing tumblers, right?
Yeah.
Highly acrobatic.
Exactly.
but at the same time, also a little bit childlike.
Wow. Right. And I mean, doesn't that just fit right in with the Jindas?
Yeah.
Carefree, you know?
Mm-hmm. But they didn't want to leave the tree.
No, that's true. That is true. Well, the Tromes plead with the Ewoks, don't take the branch, because everybody who visits the Trome tree wants a branch. And if the last one is taken, they say the tree will die, leaving them homeless. So yeah, the three of them apparently live in that tree.
But they need to be in a living tree.
It can't be very comfortable for the three of them in there.
I think it could be. Because when they're tumbling around, they do get into like a tight little ball.
Oh, that's true.
Oh, if they did ball up and just, kind of stack in there like basketballs.
If it's a TARDIS like the last thing we saw.
Well,
Yeah.
there is that.
Because they do say, come live with us. There's room for 2 more or 4 more or even 10 more.
That's true. I would say that there is maybe
No, there's not.
we could have the TARDIS effect underground, except there is no underground. It's right through the cliff.
Right through the cliff.
All right.
I mean, Oscar the Grouch, man.
That's true. That's true. Nisa can't bring herself to take the last branch, and that puts the Ewok village at risk. And as you said, Andy, at one point the Tromes suggest, well, they could all live here because there's room for
more.
Yeah, exactly.
Lesson
1
of the
more,
heart.
3 more, or 10 more. But Nisa comes up with a bright idea, which she's not going to tell us. She just says she thinks she knows a way to save the village without the Trome sap, and she asks the Tromes to come back to Bright Tree Village with them. Dun dun dun. Back at the villa, Wicket and Nisa, along with the Tromes, arrive while Willie tries to fend off some of the vines from the not the bakery. And there's a whole, like, I only put one shot in here, but there's a whole sequence of Willie as he's like
devouring.
He runs ahead of, I think it's more, it's what, 3? Is it 2 or 3 vine heads? It's not just one.
Yeah.
Multiple. He runs to every table of baked goods and tries to consume them all.
He eats a table of pies, a table of cupcakes. He tries to eat a table of bread, but they actually bite the bread out of his hands on the third one. Yeah.
Good on him though for trying to. All right. Logray and Chirpa are still shouting at whoever will listen, don't let it reach the ground. Chirpa asks Nisa if she has all the ingredients. The second time now, Chirpa says, do you have all the ingredients that Logray needs? She says that she doesn't. Well, not exactly, but she does have a plan. Knowing that there is a potion already in Logray's hut, she directs Wicket and the Tromes to go after the potion while she goes to help Milani and the Walklings who are trapped on the platform above.
Excuse me.
The Tromes launch into a tumbling routine that seems to distract some of the vines, which gives Wicket a chance to sneak towards Logray's hut. But another batch of vines ends up blocking him. And strangely enough, Wicket does this come on, think fast. He has this think fast moment, and he focuses on the Tromes, and he starts laughing, like hysterically laughing. Ah!
Look how entertaining those guys are.
Yeah, which seems to work as the 3 vines kind of do the, huh? And are literally distracted, which gives Wicket a chance to slip inside the hut. Does this vine retain that intelligence when it's like little?
Probably.
Wow. That's some scary.
That's scary. That is scary.
That is Wicket using lesson 2 though, without being even told what the lessons are.
That's true. I can't believe that Logray lets this stuff live in his hut.
Yeah, right. He's got a lot of stuff. Like, why don't they use the invisible soap on all these missions?
I don't know.
They would never get caught.
Nisa pulls out the sticky shoes and using them, she walks up the tree to where Milani and the Walklings are. Well, she ends up sticking her hand into the bag and produces a handful of just the goo, and she lobs it into the mouth of one of the vines, and it immediately gums it up. And gathering the Walklings together, she says, I'm going to teach you how to walk down trees. Meanwhile, on the forest floor, Chirpa and Logray bat at the vines. Just then, Wicket and the Tromes arrive with the antidote. We've got it. We've got it. And Logray says to Wicket that just a few drops in each mouth should do it. And then in another fast-thinking moment, Wicket starts gathering acorns, which kind of like
ticks off Chirpa.
It does.
Now's not the time to collect acorns.
Yeah.
Like he couldn't see. I mean, as soon as he started picking up the acorns, I knew exactly what he was doing.
Well, he wasn't using this.
It's like Paplu. Paplu's got more Chirpa in him than like he's that kind of brash
Yeah.
leader, like style of, they're not related.
No, because it's what Bozzie's his mother.
Yes.
Right.
No father in that family.
Mm.
Or maybe there is. We just never see him. All right. Wicket ends up collecting these acorns, but it's not just for fun. He ends up dropping them into his satchel and then proceeds to pour the antidote into the acorns.
Smart.
And ends up ordering everybody around to grab some acorns and start feeding the vines.
But that's not the line he delivers. He delivers the line.
Oh yeah.
Everybody grab a handful of nuts. It's feeding time.
And every
Dirty,
time I try to
dirty.
shove nuts in someone's mouth, they do shy away. So it makes perfect sense.
Wow. Are you trying to say your nuts are the size of acorns? Is that what you're saying?
I'm getting old.
Grapefruits. There's a terrible reference.
You got a few years to go, but I've sat on them before. It's not fun.
Ouch, ouch, ouch. That's an age-related thing. And by the way, I've been there. The toilet seat.
Oh yeah.
Never mind. I need to get into that.
All right.
No toilet humor.
All right.
Back to the balls.
One by
Nuts.
one, the vines do end up eating the acorns and start shrinking back to a normal size. However, the vine that's holding on to Paplu that's been tickling him is stubborn and is literally doing the
Leader vine.
Yeah, I don't want to eat it. Not going to do
Hive
it.
mind information finally reached it.
Mm-hmm.
Only when Paplu manages to free his arms, and basically starts tickling the vine back.
Gitchy. Gitchy.
The vine opens its mouth, allowing one of the tromes to toss in an acorn. Strangely enough, as fast as that thing grew, it shrinks even faster. And in a few seconds, the stranglethorn has shrunk back to normal. And as it recedes back into its pot, Nisa and the walklings come walking down the tree using the sticky goo from her satchel, and everyone cheers. I presume, I didn't really pay attention, but I'm guessing because there was only 2 pairs of shoes,
That she made some more on the fly, maybe.
she would have had to. And that's, I'm guessing that there was more broad leaves up at the top of the trees.
Or maybe there was more goo in her satchel and she just wiped it literally on their feet.
You can,
Like, I don't have to clean you guys. You're not my
again,
kids."
with this VHS transfer or this television transfer, it's hard to make out, but
The
there's
slides
enough.
are pretty good, man. I
It
have
looks
to admit.
okay. Like I'm watching.
It has a softness to it, right?
It definitely does. I feel like the walkling behind the little blonde one, I think, is definitely wearing shoes. There's some dark spots on the feet.
Mhm.
They could just be puddles of goo. It doesn't really matter. What matters is it works, and they're able to get off the tree.
I mean, this technology could revolutionize Ewokdom realistically.
Yeah.
Seriously. I guess you just got to refresh your shoes every once in a while when the sap starts to dry out.
Mhm.
Just to go visit the Keats.
Exactly.
All right. And then with the threat of the Stranglethorn finally dealt with, Nisa pledges to stay at her studies and learn the 3 lessons. With her hand on heart, I promise. But Logray says that, yes, even though it was wrong of her to neglect her studies, she's already learned them. That by entering and escaping the Keat Mound, that showed agility, the lesson of the hand. And by figuring out how to retrieve the Ganga root, she learned the lesson of the head. And by sparing the Trome tree, she learned the most important lesson of all, the lesson of the heart. Chirpa hugs and congratulates his daughter. And he says, one day you'll make a fine chieftess. Everyone cheers for Nisa, but then Wicket notices that Logray has disappeared. Where'd he go? And everyone looks around until they spot the old shaman walking up a tree using the sticky goo shoes as he says, well, I'll be a Munyip's uncle. It works.
A Munyip's uncle.
A Munyip's uncle.
That's wicked.
And then we cut to actually, because it was on YouTube, we didn't cut to credits at all. It just stops. Next
But there is
video.
credits. There is credits. But
Yeah.
there's a missing element here.
What?
If they'd have stopped and used the lesson of the head again,
Yeah.
They could have really helped out the Tromes. You take that grow serum and you put it
Oh
on
my
that
God. Put it on the
terribly-
Trome tree.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
Put it on the Trome tree.
Grow more branches.
Oh, I wonder if we get a second episode with them in season 2.
Hmm. Well, we are
Missed
working on our
opportunity.
fan
That
fiction.
is true. That is true.
Missed opportunity to go
Land
help
of the
those little
Tromes.
cavemen.
But that's it. That's the 3 lessons. Now we are on this side of the episode. What do you guys think?
Not bad. Good
I mean,
message.
is a
Good messaging.
prob-
I
yeah,
agree.
The best that they've done actually probably at introducing something subtle like that and then pulling it off without being pushy.
Yeah.
I want to say my initial watch through. I didn't like this episode.
No.
No, I didn't. I was quite like, oh, this is, and maybe it's because I was in a bit of a panic over the technical stuff not working out. But like, my first watch through was like, I know, like we've said it before, and I don't know how else to say it other than like Caro's work is just that much more juvenile than Paul
Yeah.
Dini's.
Oh yeah,
But again, that's the audience that he was writing to, and I can't
it's like
fault
Williams
him
and
for that.
Elfman.
Yeah, I can't fault him for writing for a younger audience, but like,
no.
man, like I'm trying to put myself in the position of like being like 9 or 10, and I think 9/10-year-old me would still have a problem with some of these episodes. Like,
Well, this one's Nisa heavy, right? And little boy, 9 years old, is probably going to be like, I need more Wicket.
Yeah.
that never bothered me. But again, you do make a point with that, and I think for some people that's probably true.
It's like The Simpsons when they do like a Marge Simpson led episode,
Yeah.
as it
Yeah.
would, underperform to say a Homer episode.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Or
the
in
Simpson,
that.
yeah, or
that's-
several seasons of where it
Yeah.
might as well have been called the Homer Show.
And while it was 40 years ago, we all had remotes, so there was the opportunity to go. This episode's not hitting. We can go check out what's on Scooby Doo.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Whatever was on in that time slot. That's episode 1. If you want to go back and check that one out in the replay, back when we started this, we went through.
The Saturday morning.
Yeah. We did the Saturday morning lineup from 8 a.m. right until 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
For multiple networks.
Wide world of sports.
American Bandstand for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Next week, it is the penultimate episode of the season. And that one, I think, is going to be fun because it is a classic Star Wars piece of trivia, as it is titled Blue Harvest.
Mhm.
We'll get into Blue Harvest and why it's a piece of Star Wars trivia next week. I don't want to spoil it for anybody who's never heard this before, but
And it's not because of Family Guy.
no. I can say this much. Blue Harvest was the secret filming title for Return of the Jedi. We'll talk more about that next week, though.
Mhm.
All right. Anything you guys want to touch on before we wrap this one up for the evening?
It was dope. It's always more fun than watching the episodes.
I think so.
Yeah.
I have much more fun riffing on them, and I mean that in the.
Oh, it's good natured. I'm not.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, oh yeah, I enjoy it.
As always, love hanging out with you guys. For those of you who tune in week after week, so thankful for you guys. We couldn't do this. Well, you know what? We would do it without you. I've said it before. I'll say it again. We'd be having these conversations with or without an audience, but it's
True.
always more fun to have you along for the ride and to see your comments in the live chat. Love doing that. Love all of you. And I guess that's it for me.
If Disney is looking to expand their Star Wars experience, though, how
Yeah.
about Logray's Hut at
Oh,
Star Wars?
As part of Galaxy's Edge.
Edge. Just imagine the crazy stuff they could cram in there.
oh yeah.
I'd be scared as hell.
Yeah.
All
Just
right.
have like a little animatronic Wiki or Willy
Oh,
pop
sure.
out from behind a curtain or something.
The
Yeah.
funny thing is, though, like nobody would recognize these characters because they'd have to. Black Spire is like canon, right?
Mm.
So we'd have to use their live action looks.
Yeah.
And like nobody, I couldn't tell you what Willie looked like without going back and looking at my notes, right? Like,
True.
who's that?
They
Ewok?
just do a
What the
little
hell?
merch blitz, and they'd have
Oh,
it
yeah.
in the bag.
Always interested on Ewok stuff. I know we've sort of talked about it before with the Marvel Comics run here coming along. I do think that the franchise is ready for more furballs,
Hmm.
and I'm all for it. So here's hoping, fingers crossed. Oh, other news, some action figure news. I've taken this away from Tuesday. Did you guys see the upcoming? No, the upcoming
Star Wars Black Series 6-inch Commander Cody that's coming.
I did not.
Ooh.
This will be the third release of Commander Cody, and he is coming on can I call it retro Revenge of the Sith packaging? And
Nice.
this one I may actually buy. The last version of Cody was just the archive version of the original
That's the
figure.
one I have. Yep.
Yeah, so this new one,
Can you pull his helmet off?
yes, so
Yes.
removable helmet, does not have the long rifle, just the short rifle, has a screen accurate backpack
Nice.
and a 2-scale holographic image of the Emperor executed for the 66.
Oh.
Yeah,
All it needs
so,
is Kenobi's saber, and we're off to the races.
yeah, that's gonna look cool.
Mm.
Enough that I might actually want to buy that one.
Yeah, that's where see something like the Emperor hologram right there is like a big dangle for me. Something cool, like if they put a key piece in every figure like that, it makes it that much harder to walk away from, especially when they're doing like, we're just going to slap another head on this body. I hope it's the new clone body with just that the new clone
It
body
looks like a
so much
retooling
better.
to me.
Is it?
It does only definitely the torso is new because the backpack is
I haven't
molded
looked.
in. It's definitely molded
I
in.
don't think I have
Or
it.
Hasbro, if you're listening, just start putting Build-A-Figure pieces in there.
God damn
Yeah.
it.
You know how many droids we could have had by now?
Oh man, all the droids. FX7.
Droids, Banthas.
Yeah.
Put one arm in every FX7 arm in one pack. Like, I don't care.
One
I'll
arm.
buy 11 figures to do it.
That's right.
We all would.
You're right. Probably would.
Is
How
this
many-
arm 9 or 10?
How many probe droids do you own, Hank?
Uh,
I've only got one.
Yeah,
I only bought one.
I have two. I have
Um,
I have a
I-
torture droid that came with, but I mean, that's small.
what the 99?
The interrogation droid.
They didn't do him in Black Series.
In with Tarkin. Yeah, packaged with.
Oh,
Tarkin.
sorry. The floating ball. Yeah.
yeah.
I got one of those.
The Death Star Phantasm.
That's the one. Yeah. What was I gonna say?
Probe droid on Hoth.
Oh yeah. No, the crossover figure. Yeah, there is that.
Hmm.
The Star Wars is getting a Transformer crossover figure. It's Din Djarin as the N1 Starfighter.
Mm.
I didn't care for my two favorite franchises, Star Wars and Transformers, and I'm not going to get this one.
Mm.
A Mandalorian.
I didn't do the whole Star Wars Transformer thing like the last
First
time
time.
when they came out, like for those couple of years that they did them.
Mm.
I like them. I like the idea of them, but it doesn't fit neither. Like if I was saying to my wife, I said, if I wanted the Mando's N1, I would just get a representation of his N1 because that's going to look better than a Transformer. That's,
Yeah.
and if I want Din Djarin, I'll get a Din Djarin, which I already have. So
I like that's why I drew that thing for you, because I like playing like that better than I
Beautiful.
like collecting it.
it's beautiful.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. No,
yeah.
absolutely.
Funner
Absolutely.
to think that stuff than to own something that looks like that, because it doesn't really fit in either collection.
And
Right.
yet for some people, maybe it would.
Well, yeah, that's true.
It just
That's true.
doesn't fit but I have very clear arcs on like
I
what
now have an
like for
Indiana
Trans-
Jones / Robotech shelf now for some reason.
Wow. Let me tell you, I'm
Thank
pretty
you very much.
Yeah, yes, of course, you're welcome. That's a whole other thing we could talk about later. Anyway, I've got nothing else to say on this episode. It was the 3 lessons. I feel like I've learned one or two.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm a little more thoughtful now about how I'm going to run the show. No,
You'll make a fine chief someday.
I'll make a fine chiefess one day. Oh, I'm flattered.
Nice.
I'm so
You
flattered.
do have like a low gray-esque beard going on, though.
Well, that's true.
Just need to get that bird skull.
Oh yeah, that's true. All right, listen, guys. Remember, whatever your thing is, fan on everybody, and remember, for Fandom Power, my name is Wes,
I'm Andy.
And I'm Hank.
and we'll see you on the next one. Bye for now, everybody.
Manamachu. Goopa loopa. Glunda. Yep, yep. Manatoto. Chiagoba Fringawa. Goopa loopa. Koto. お人が